Hi. Hello, everybody.
What's going on?
So 10 o'clock turned into 10:08. Forgive us.
Right.
But no. But honestly, it's a crazy thunderstorm going on right now. So
Yes,
we're so
it is.
sorry for being a couple of minutes late. Hello. Good evening. We're so excited. Yeah.
Let's
So
see who's on here.
hi, Gershon. Hi, all of the Shelea fans. We're so excited to talk to Shelea this evening.
Yes,
oh
we are.
My goodness.
Oh my God. If you guys have heard us for the last couple of weeks, y'all heard us talk about Shelea anyway.
Yeah, we talk about Shelea like every time we come
All
on
the
here.
time.
So imagine my delight and surprise when I was like, "Can we just talk to you?"
Right.
You know? We talk about you like every Monday, and she was like, "Yeah, sure." So really excited. Oh my God,
Shelea! Oh my goodness.
you're so funny.
Here we go, guys.
Here we go. Hi. Good evening. How are you?
How are you guys?
I'm fanning out over here, right? I am so excited about this.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet.
I'm going to try not to fan out, but I am fanning out. You are absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
But I'm going to try to be as...
So are you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And you're handsome. I love your hair. Both of your hair.
Thank you. I was just about to compliment both of y'all. Y'all are beautiful tonight, and I'm looking really rough. But you know, it is what it is.
No, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. So what's going on with you guys today?
So the reason why we wanted to have you on here is, like I said, in our inbox, like we come on here and we talk about singing all the time. And so being somebody that's kind of had a journey through, learning music and becoming a professional in music, because I'm a vocal teacher, I sometimes get students who, they kind of think that they can just become this thing in 6 to 12 weeks, right? And so, I look at somebody like you, who you are just fantastic doesn't even really describe, just your level of just virtuosity.
Man.
And it's clearly, you have put your life into your craft. And I feel like you are just the epitome of what somebody really putting their life into their craft, what that really results in. And so that was why, I really wanted to talk to you, because I have such a high level of respect for how well you not only, you do so many things really well. You're just an amazing combination. And as an 80s baby, 90s kid, our generation, we grew up with the Dionne Warwicks and the Patti LaBelles. They were the norm, they weren't the exception.
Yes.
And so you remind me of the greatness that we grew up with. And it's like you really just embody that magic that we felt as kids watching all of these. I'm trying to tell you, don't make me cry.
That means so much. It really does. Thank you. Thank you.
You really embody that childlike feeling that when music felt magical, like when people really aimed to create a moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give you a moment where you forget everything. You know what I mean? You forget that you're hungry. You forget that you're tired. You forget that you're broke.
Wow.
You forget that you ain't got no man and you missing somebody. You in love with somebody. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No, you know what I'm saying? You just do that. And so it's just, you're just magical. Like, so that's the reason why we wanted to talk to you. And so it's funny because in preparing for, us talking to you, I went down this Shelea rabbit hole and, and I realized that, as much as we kind of feel like we are just getting to know you as the public for like the last maybe 2 or 3 years, we've really kind of experienced your art for like the whole 21st century. You know what I'm saying? As a public, we just didn't realize it. You know what I mean? And so how does, my first question for you is, how does it seem to you? Because it seems to me that it took you a lifetime to become an overnight sensation. Does it feel that way for you?
You know, I still feel like there's so many people who are still discovering who I am. So I mean, I know I've had the movie, and the Clark sisters movie was huge. I think in almost like it was like a jolt, I think, to just what people's awareness was of me, just because of, you know, just all of the things being in a pandemic, you know, the Clark sisters being so popular and people being so interested in their story. But I feel like there's still a lot of people who don't know who I am, and I'm actually okay with that. You know, I know sometimes people come to me and they say, I'm 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 so sorry. This is my first time of hearing your music, or I'm so sorry I don't know you, and or sometimes they even get mad and they're like, you know, I'm just so mad that you're not a household name. And
Oh,
you know, I always say, but you know what, you know me now. And that's what matters to me, is that you know me now, you love me now, you connect with what I'm doing now. And to me, I'm just gonna keep doing that as long as, you know, God allows me to. And that's
Yeah.
what it's all about. I don't get caught up in how long it's taken me to get to this place or that place, because to be honest, I feel like my journey started, you know, in my baby book. My mom is like, you know, at 11 months, I was matching notes. You
Yeah.
know, at 2 years old, I was harmonizing. So my journey started then, you
Yeah.
know, and
mhm.
so um, that same joy I felt at you know 3 or 4, listening to Reading Rainbow, just developing my ear and all of that. Like I feel that same childlike love now, and so I feel like that's what propels me forward. And I don't, you know, I don't get caught up in the whole thing of, you know, are you okay with how many people know you or don't know you, you know?
I think also, and I can appreciate that, because I think again, it just shows that your commitment is to your craft and not to the fame. You know what I'm saying? And just kind
Yeah,
of allow God to open the door however He will.
beautifully said,
And I
beautifully
think also
said.
it's afforded you a really well-rounded life, right? Where you're not
Yeah,
having to shield yourself. You've really been able to live, I
yeah,
would imagine, more so than if you kind of burst into superstardom at 15. So let me ask you
right.
this. Do you remember, like my mom said that my very first song was Saving on My Love, and I was 2.
Woo!
I
Yes,
was 2.
come on, come
Y'all are
on.
advanced vocalists though. Like y'all are advanced, all right?
Do you have a first song?
My earliest memory, I was actually very, very shy growing up, and my mom tells me this story of, you know, I was 2 years old and she bought me this new dress, 'cause I would sing all the time, obviously, at home, and she bought me this new dress, and she got somebody to play for me. She got, you know, they're taking pictures, and I get up on stage and I get the mic, and it was a song called Sweet Jesus.
I love
And all I said was sweet,
Oh,
and that was
that.
it.
oh.
I love it. I mean, that's a little better than Saving on My Love. Once you realize what you're singing, right? Yeah, Sweet Jesus, I can appreciate. I love
Right,
it.
right. Well, I grew up in a very you know, I don't want to say religious, because I feel like it was spiritual too, but a mixture of religion and spirituality, that kind of climate. So I grew up on like the Winans and Commission, and you know, the Clark sisters and Walter Hawkins and Take Six, Sandy Patty, Larnell Harris, you know, like those, that's what, you know, Lil Shea, that's what I was listening to.
Okay,
And I
so
had to
fun
play
fact.
catch up later.
Fun fact. I was raised Seventh Day Adventist.
Really?
I was big time. So I said that to say, of course, I know I don't know you, but I feel like I know you, because I'm pretty sure I'm like 1 degree away from you on like 50 different levels. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you know,
Absolutely.
like we know generations of people who have gone through Oakwood and sang in all their recording choirs and sang in the Aeolians. I never went to Oakwood, but just being born and raised in South Florida in Jamaican Seventh Day Adventist churches,
For sure.
yeah, I get it. I get it. And I think
Yeah.
I was singing in church at the age of 4 as well. And my grandfather put me up there. And one thing about the Adventist church is that they are big on vocal music.
Yeah.
Vocals is huge. Like I remember
Yeah.
being in children's choir and we were already harmonizing and people
Yeah.
were already playing, you know, accompanying the choir on the piano at very, very young ages. I've noticed that in the Adventist church is that vocals are just a huge,
True. That's very
yeah,
true.
huge emphasis on vocal music, on hymns and creating your own harmony. So we definitely have that in common. And I think
Yeah.
I hear that love for like just piano and voice. I think being in the Adventure Church, being raised in that really allows you to have a huge appreciation for that level of simplicity and musicality, I think. Would that be?
That's definitely part of it. That's a big part of it. But I grew up in a small town, Bakersfield, California, and I was the musician for my little church on 3rd and L at 12 years old. So
Wow.
for me, I didn't even know, you know, all I knew was just singing and playing because it was almost out of necessity, you know. So I was the musician for my church. So anytime I needed to sing, I had to play for myself or play for others or play for the choir, you know. So so for me, that's where that piano vocal, I feel most at home, just, you know, just me at the piano, because that's it's almost now, because I really don't play piano well, and people laugh when I say that, and I promise I'm not trying to be humble, but I do accompany very well, and that's because it was always out of necessity of accompanying myself, you know what I mean?
That was actually leading me to my next point. You're insane. You play the piano.
I'm like, what do you mean you don't play very well?
That was actually going to be my next point. You play the piano like someone who learned piano first. Like, I've never heard, like, you don't play piano like a singer who's accompanying themselves. You play piano like you are a pianist.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. You know, like you hear singers play and then you hear players play and you play like a player. And then it's like, how do you, because I mean, I've had 5 years of training, which has gotten me to the point where I can play like church songs, not in root position, praise God. So, so I know, and even once I start singing, I mean, it's basically 20% hands, 80%.
Right. I get that. I get that.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I'm watching you play, I'm like, how is she thinking so intricately in her hands while singing so intricately? Like, I just want you to know you are phenomenal. Like, I don't know how. Yeah, throw that away that you can't play. That's ridiculous.
Thank you so much. No, I promise I'm not trying to play it down. I have been, I guess, you know, it's all relative, and I you know, when you're you know, when you're friends with Corey Henry, it's like, okay,
oh yeah,
he can play. I kind of tinkle, you know what I mean?
Tinkle along.
So, but he's not from this planet, you know. And even people like my brother-in-law, Justin Wilson, who's just such an incredible pianist, producer, all of that. So I promise I'm not trying to, you know, play my gift down, because that's another thing I have actually learned over the years, is to not play my gift down, which I do think, you want to talk about Adventist, and maybe just church culture period. I feel like sometimes we almost feel like it's prideful to own our gift, and to be able to express that it is incredible and it is big and it is wonderful. It feels almost sacrilegious to say that, or to think that. And I do, this is kind of a side note, but I some years back, I kind of came to terms with, like, when I play my gift down, I'm playing God down.
Yeah.
I completely own it 100%. I also know that I could be a lot better. I should be practicing more, which I have been trying to do more. My Shea babes have been holding me accountable for that. I've missed a few days, but no, I think when I sing, I'm completely free. I don't think, you know, and that has come from doing it over and over and over and over
Yes.
again. That wasn't always the case, you know.
Yes.
There were times where I was in my head and I was thinking, okay, here's a note that's coming about. Now
Mm-hmm.
there's such a trust with my instrument and my gift that I don't think at all. And so not far behind is the piano, to where I'm not thinking, because since I'm knowing exactly where I'm going, my piano is just like, I'm with you, boo. I'm with you, boo. You know, my hands are like, I'm with you, you know. So it's just a comfort now. And I think that's probably what you're hearing and sensing when you see me just at the piano singing and playing. I'm completely free.
I love it.
You know?
That comes from a lot of practice.
Oh, that's a lot of practice.
That literally comes from a lot, because it's like the controlled loss of control, right? So
yes.
you're not thinking, but you trust your gift because you beat on your craft enough to be able to gain that trust and be like, I know where I'm going, and not to be, you know, I guess like we said, sacrilegious or big-headed, but I know what I'm doing, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
To get out,
absolutely.
that's something I wish a lot of
that
other
muscle
musicians
memory
would get.
just kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but your muscle memory is quite stretchy.
Yo, yeah. If we watch some of your videos, a lot of your videos, and every single time you don't miss.
Yeah, you always do something that is like,
you don't miss.
We thought you was tired.
Yeah. Dileesa says that you have this special gift where you take an already amazing song and you know how to elevate that.
Elevate it.
That is such a gift in itself. Is that something you've done on purpose? Like, did you listen to an amazing song and think, how can I make this a special moment from my heart? Do you think of that, or did you just sing?
I think for me, I always want to find the truth. You know, whatever the truth is for me, for the song. You know, I have been I've had the amazing opportunity to sing songs that have become so classic and so well loved. You know, the Whitney moments that I have with David Foster, the Toni Braxton moments I have with David Foster, Shaka Khan.
Yes.
You know, and so I think sometimes you know, when you hear, sometimes other singers, they'll nail it. They'll do exactly the same way as the person has done it. And there's certain licks and there's certain things that I know that the public needs to hear. You know, and
absolutely.
The money
to you. There's a certain moment when they're hearing "I Will Always Love You." It's like you can't deviate. And I mean, you can't try to do something different right there. It's like that's what it is. That's what people came to hear, and that's what it is. But I always try to find my truth in that story, because I look at songs as stories, and I think over the years that is what I think has touched people more than anything, more than, you know, the runs or the notes, or, you know, to me it's not about all of that. I mean, you know, of course you want to land it, you want it to be clean, you want it to be clear,
and certainly you do land. You
land.
land.
We want to land that thing. We gotta land that thing.
You land the plane.
But to me, it's the heart. I think that's what people are hearing. It's the heart doing those runs. You know, because you have a lot of people who are doing those runs without the heart, and you don't feel anything, even though it's completely clean. It's clean. It's pristine. It's all of that, but you just don't feel it. And so, it's that connection of here, and here.
You have to love it.
Of having all of it connect, you know.
So when I talk about Aretha Franklin with clients or other people, other musicians, one of the things that I talk about is what you just said. We talk about feel versus skill, and then we talk about feel and skill. Yes. Like what you just said, like we want you to land the plane, but we also want you to take us somewhere. Yes, exactly. And there's so many examples of that we know in music, and you know, I'm not going to name names, but there's some people who are just all feeling and not as much skill,
And they are extremely successful because people, they feel it. And then you have people who've got so much skill, but people don't feel it. And then they wonder like, okay, well, why is this person not as successful as this person? And I believe personally, I think it's because they just have not connected with their story.
Let me say this. What I have noticed about you, just like watching your videos, I think I saw a video and you captioned it something like, this is what it looks like when you practice the way you perform.
Yeah.
Isn't that so important? I kind of had to learn that the hard way because I'm a marker. Like I kind of mark what I want to do. But I think there's something really significant if you kind of allow yourself to feel what that song is going to feel like emotionally, physically, everything. Because I think it's only going to make it more magical on stage. So can you tell me that, like, talk about that, like how you prepare to sing, like how much of it is just mental marking, getting into the music, and how much of it is like, okay, today I'm going to actually physically 100% full-throated practice this song. How does that work?
You know, I'll be totally transparent with you. I don't do a whole lot of practicing at home, you know, just on my downtime. It's for me, it's always been instinctual, you know. It's all instinct at this moment. Have I had to learn a song? Absolutely. You know, I to this day I struggle with lyrics, you know. So a lot of times if I'm in my head about anything, it'll be a lyric kind of thing. And for a lot of the gigs that I do, you know, sometimes there is a teleprompter or some type of, you know, because I you know, especially at some point when I was doing so many songs, there was so many songs floating. I'm just like, I need a little safety. You know what I'm saying?
What they call it now, right? They call it a confidence screen.
Exactly. I needed a little confidence screen. But I can't stress enough finding your own truth. I remember there was a song, I actually did a whole record. It was a tribute to these songwriters named Alan and Marilyn Bergman, and they were,
we listened to it.
Yep,
yeah.
heard it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's downloaded. It's on my phone.
What are you talking
absolutely.
about? Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so as you guys know, they wrote so many, you know, classic songs, many for Barbara Streisand. They wrote The Way We Were, all kind of stuff. A little side note, they wrote the theme to Good Times too, which is so great.
Okay.
my little old white Jewish couple. They're just the most precious couple in the world. But
we sang all over it.
Huh?
I said, and we sang all over that song.
Oh yeah, good time. Yeah. So they were telling me there was a song that I did that Barbara had did. And it's actually one of those songs that they got an Oscar for, a soundtrack called. It was a movie called Yentl, and one of the songs was called "Will Someone Ever Look at Me That Way?" And so that was actually the very first song I recorded of theirs. And the first time they listened to it, they said, what's amazing about you, Shelea, is that we don't even think about Barbara's, you know, and that was such a huge affirmation for me, because it wasn't so much because I didn't want to sound like Barbara, but it was my story. It was my heart and my truth through the same lyrics, same melody, same everything, but it was Shalea's story. It was all the things that I've gone through, every heartbreak, every heart mend, every triumph, everything, every failure. Like it was mine. It was my instrument that was bringing this song to life. And so that's always going to be how I approach every song. And that's my preparation, is what was the songwriter trying to convey, and how can I use that message and really express it in my way.
I love that. The approach is everything.
And that compliment, for those that don't know, is one of the highest compliments, because a lot of younger people don't know, but Barbara was really that chick.
No, she.
Oh, honey. Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh,
Barbara's
yeah.
music, I don't know if y'all know Putting it together, bit by bit. Barbara
Funny girl.
ain't no joke.
Funny girl is hard.
Her catalog is the truth.
So true, so true. An incredible actress, director. I mean, she's in a class of her own.
I watched a video of her and Judy Garland when she was 21. Have you seen that, the black and white one? And
yes,
yes.
Yes.
I can't get enough of it.
Me neither. I love that. And what's so amazing about that is, like, she loved Judy Garland, and then years later, Celine loved Barbara, and then they did a duet together. So it was like this you know, passing of the torch. And now, like, Ariana Grande loves Celine, and so it's like this connectedness, you know. So
I love it.
Somebody said, "Hello, Barbara. This is Shirley. I'm weak." That is definitely a black joke. I'm weak.
that's definitely a black joke. Yeah, but Barbara is the truth. Judy was the truth. You know, they both knew how to tell a story. I think that's why they're considered the greatest, you know, even now.
Yeah. So another question I had for you was regarding your vocal inspiration, because you know, I can hear your, you know, generally your inspirations like Whitney, Aretha, all of that. But what I hear in your voice that I don't generally hear in a female singer is a lot of Stevie Wonder influence. It's like there's something about your approach to singing or your approach to run sometimes that can be kind of aggressive and more masculine. And I think it's the coolest thing. To me, it just sets
that's amazing that you picked up on that. That's really amazing, and that's your word choice that you use, because you're right. It is. It is.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we talk about how femininity and masculinity can really be expressed in your vocals. Like, I love Tina Campbell. You know, I love Whitney Houston. They're like my favorite singers, and I think it's because there's a flirty femininity in the things that they do, and so. You know, especially male vocalists back in those days, between let's say the 60s and 80s, there was like a stronger, you know, masculinity. There was like this delineation. I think now, I mean, women singers are generally ruling, you know, just in general. Women singers are there's always going to be 20 women to 2 guys as far as, you know, singers that are out front, you know what I mean? But there was a sound there that men tended to have. And I sometimes can hear that in your voice. And I think it's so cool. I think it's so great because your voice, like when I first of all, I first heard you a couple years ago, but then I realized I first heard you when you did the Whitney tribute. But then I realized I really first heard you on the All of Us, like
right. Often I wish that we.
I was like, wait, hold on, she's been a part of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I guess what I'm saying is I think when I first heard you, I was like, oh my God, she's just like a richer voice to Mia. But then there was something that, you know, but then I was just like, at this point, I don't think it's fair to compare you to anybody and say, oh, she's a this to me or she's a this Whitney. Like, you're really just Shelea. And you really just standing your own. But can we talk about that Stevie influence? Because I don't know if enough people, for me anyway, he's not somebody I feel like enough people dig into, especially now.
Yeah, you know, as you guys know, he's not just an influence. He's become a friend. You know.
I can't wait to talk about that. Oh my God. My God.
It's weird because it's like I've said this many times, but I see him as it's like 2 versions of Stevie. So it's like the Stevie that I talk ish with.
Okay. Dang.
We talk. Oh my God! Like we talk so much ish to each other. It's hilarious.
That's dope.
But then it's like the other Stevie. Like when I hear, you know, you are the sunshine of my life, or I hear my Cherie Morning, and it's like that's like the Stevie of like being, you know, 15, 16, 17 years old, like, you know, just being so excited every time he came on TV. And it's like, it's weird because it's like, it's the same person, but it doesn't seem like it's the same person because we have such a intimate friendship, you know, but it's like, oh my God, that's effing Stevie Wonder.
I mean, I'm not in my head, but I don't.
It just hits me like, it hits me in weird times, you know. But you're right. But I can't say it's only Stevie. I want to bring two other male singers into the conversation that I think you're also hearing, who also may have been inspired by Stevie as well. But as I told you guys, I grew up listening to a lot of Commission and a lot of Wyman. So Marvin Wyman actually is a huge inspiration. Like his use of straight tone, just the way he does a phrase, he'll put like a little tiny bit of vibrato on and then pushes back. I didn't realize how much I was studying him, but when I listened to some of my my recordings or just me live or whatever, like I hear a lot of Marvinisms.
Wow.
And then Fred Hammond, the way he would, like he does those little things. Like I also didn't realize how much I was soaking up from Fred Hammond as well. So I would say those, in addition to Stevie. Stevie, interestingly, you listen to a lot of his earlier records, he wasn't doing a lot of runs. Like it was really all just tone and inflection and bending and storytelling, and he didn't really do runs until really much later, and but it was all just texture. He doesn't have to. He doesn't rely on that, So I would say those would be, in terms of like male influences, those would be the top three. And then also, talk about another female who kind of has, I feel like, that kind of aggressive approach vocally would be Vanessa Bell Armstrong, and she's another really huge influence in my singing too.
One of the best singers to ever touch a mic.
She's amazing. I mean, do you have a question?
Yeah. I just have to ask you this though. So about Stevie and like Quincy. Okay, this is what I want to know as a fan of all three of y'all. How did it feel when you first knew that you were friends with people you adored growing up? Like, how did that, like when you just hung up the phone one day and you was like,
that's my friend.
We friends. Like, how did that feel? Because I mean, I just think that's so amazing. When I listen to you on your other videos and you're like, you told, I think it was Dorinda, and you were like, I told Stevie, I need to see you. And I was like, how did you just say that in passing? You told Stevie Wonder that he just needs to get on the phone and talk to you. I was like,
I know. It's like when I hear it back, I realize how crazy it sounds. I have another friend named Stevie, who also is an incredible singer and is making a huge name for himself. His name is Stevie Mackey.
Oh,
of course, we know him. Listen,
yes,
I was down at A&M, so I was down the street from y'all. But I was down the street in Huntsville at A&M. But we sang too. But y'all was. We sang too, but Oakwood, we give y'all, we give y'all things.
But it's funny because, as you guys know, we all grew up Seventh Day, and so when you're just kind of like talking, and I would be like in conversations, and I would say Stevie, and people like, oh, Mackie. Now, it would just kind of be like this awkward thing, like, no wonder.
Oh my God! Like,
not you, boo.
But it's just people in the circle, because we're all Adventists. I'm saying Stevie. They're like, that's our Stevie. Stevie is, that's our Stevie. So it's just kind of cute, where. But honestly, I think when you're in the process of getting to know someone, I met Stevie, Wonder in 2008. It was 2008. And so it's been some time now. I do remember the first conversation we had. I remember exactly where I was. I remember everything. And I remember I hung up the phone and I just started screaming, you know. And
That's appropriate.
Yeah.
and I just started screaming. You know, but now it's like he has this. I tell people this all the time, you know, like the warmth you feel like when you hear his music, like that's how he makes you feel in person. So again, that's why I think I forget that he is the Stevie Wonder, because he doesn't move that way, you know. I honestly, in all of my life, I've never seen someone with so much love and so much light in them. So he just there's a reason that God gave him so much, because I think he's got the capacity to hold it all.
I love it. I love it.
And one time I asked him. Say it again.
I said, what a wonderful thing to be able to say. Like when you meet somebody that, you know, you, for lack of a better word, idolize, you know what I'm saying, your whole life, and for them to live up to that in just character, you know what I mean? Cause
absolutely.
I met a couple of people and they wasn't who I was listening to on the you know, when we had CD players and things. They wasn't the people that I was listening to on my Walkman, so I had to get those CDs out of here.
Yeah,
that's a lovely thing to be able to say. I was gonna say I'm kind of done. I don't want to take up your whole night, but is there something you would like to say to the audience? Are you coming out with something else? I mean, it seems like you're always doing something.
I know. I feel like I've been doing so. Maybe we can take a few questions if people have some questions.
Please.
I would be willing to do that. So you guys put some questions in their box, okay?
The Shay Babies have been going off about you talking about Stevie Wonder.
And I'm blind, by the way, so if I'm this close, it takes this much for me to be able to see. Let's see now.
But the skin is flawless, so we good.
In the meantime, who have you not tributed yet that you would like to?
Say that again.
I say, in the meantime, while we're waiting on questions, who have you not tributed yet that you would like to?
Ooh, that's such a good one that I have not tributed.
Because you've done Tina Turner. Oh my goodness, Aretha. I love your Aretha, by the way. Like, oh Jesus.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, Aretha, Tina, Whitney. Let's see, who else would I really love? You know, I would love to do, and I've sung her songs many times, but I would love to do like a real good tribute to Yolanda Adams.
Oh
yes. So my favorite song is "In the Midst of It All." Is that yours?
Oh, love that song. Love that. Oh, she's got so many hits. So many. So I don't even know what song I would want to do. I mean, right now, the first one that I think of is Open My Heart. For some reason, that song just does something to me. I also love Only Way. Everywhere that I go. You know, that song is the bomb. There's so many. Still I Rise. Ooh, but I think I actually love singing Open My Heart. There's certain songs that just fit me, like there's melody lines I just love to sing, and that's one of them. You know, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and Big Jim, may he rest in peace. They wrote that along with Yolanda Adams, who's also an incredible songwriter. I don't think people say that as much as they should. She's incredible.
Thank you for saying that.
Incredible songwriter.
Thank you for saying that. I love when people pay attention to songwriting, because I think that there's especially some women, even in pop music right now, some of our vets that just don't get the credit that they deserve for songwriting. And one of those people is Aretha. Another one is Mariah Carey. It's like it's like this thing now to just, you know, discredit Mariah, and I don't know where that came from. And Janet Jackson. It's like, y'all don't realize all those amazing hits are written by these women?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a couple of questions.
Okay.
People actually put them in the question box. So Shay Babes Official just said not a question, but hey.
Hey.
Vash Teaked said, okay, I'm not sure what this means because they put a laugh afterward. Have you talked to the producer about WMTL?
That was Weren't Made to Love. That's a song that I have not released yet.
Uh-oh.
And, you know, I don't know when it's going to happen. But I just listened to a song, another song that is also really, really special. And the producer just sent me what he's kind of worked on. And it sounds really, really good. So I'm hoping to have something new for you guys within a month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Will you have your nephew, the young drummer, to collaborate with you? He's already collaborating with you.
I know. It's the whole first album. A B C D E F G. That's you know
I love it. You collaborating with him at this point.
Exactly.
He's a whole artist. I love it. He's so cute. So Gershon, were you ever in a place where you almost gave up on your dreams?
I've never been in a place where I wanted to give up, but I have been in dark spaces where nothing was going on at all, and I questioned if what I had was special enough to be an artist. I knew I could sing. I knew I could, you know, I knew I could sing. But a lot of people can sing. You know, when you grow up in Black church, a lot of people can sing, you know.
That's good.
And so there was just moments where I was just thinking, okay, yeah, I got a voice. Yes, I can sing. Yeah, you know, a lot of people think that. But do I really have what it takes to be an artist? Because that's very different.
It is, absolutely.
And so I think what kept me going is just every time I would sing and use my gift, and the feedback I would get was just so overwhelming, you know, that's what kind of propelled me forward. There was this moment that happened in my career. I've talked about it a couple times. I was performing at the Songwriters Hall of Fame Awards, and I mean, I had nothing. I had no no label, no nothing, no album, no manager, no, just nothing. But I had, interestingly enough, just performed at the White House, a tribute to Burt Bacharach and Hal David. So Hal David ended up passing away, one of the most incredible songwriters of our time. And they ended up, ASCAP ended up naming the Starlight Awards after him, the Hal David Starlight Award. They started that. So Karen Sherry, who I love so dearly, she brought me in to do this event. So just to put it in context, Sting opened the show.
Okay.
You got Steven Tyler performing. You got Foreigner. I want to know what love is. I mean, like, everybody you can think of, everybody in the industry was there. It was Berry Gordy, Smokey Robinson,
Oh my God.
Natalie Cole, may she rest in peace.
Oh.
Clive Davis, Elton John, Billy Joel. Like, it was literally every person you could think of. It was like a Grammy event. You know,
Were you nervous?
I actually wasn't. So I sing the song. It was Anyone Who Had a Heart, and I remember finishing the song, and I just, for some reason, I just remember it being so quiet. It was like everything just started happening in slow motion. And then I opened my eyes and I looked out, and every one of my heroes were standing. They gave me a standing ovation. And then I found out later by my sister that it was Berry Gordy and Smokey Robinson who started the standing ovation. So that was a moment in my life, in my career, where I said, I don't care how long it takes. Like, I don't care what I have to do. I know that what I have is special, because that was probably the toughest room I will ever play in my life. And I got them to stand up for a girl. They didn't know my name. They was like, who, Shelea? I mean, what? You know what I'm saying? But it was, but it was the fact that I was able to connect so deeply, and they were able to receive it, and that was kind of a turning point for me. That it was like, okay, come hell or high water, I don't care. I'm not leaving this industry. I'm not leaving because I know that what I have is special.
That's so important.
That is so important. I want to ask you this because you said they don't know this girl's name, Shelea. Okay, so my first,
I
was going to say her first name is Dileesa. My first name is Cartelis. Your name is Shelea. Tell me some of the butchering that's happened to your name, because I've been called Cortez, Cornelius. Right after I tell them my name face to face, I say, my name is Cartelis. And they'll say, oh yeah, how you doing, Cordenas? And I'm like, oh, thanks for that. And Dileesa, what? So many different versions.
Denise.
What I have found is that people need something that is familiar to them.
Yeah.
So for me, now when I say it, I say, hi, I'm Shelea, like Princess Leia. They get it. They almost never mess up after that. So that's kind of something I've been doing the last few years, and that seems to really they have to connect it with something that they know very, very, very well.
Hi, my name is Cartelis, like the drug cartel.
No.
Right.
That's the only thing.
But that would work. It would work because they know that word.
They might be afraid. They'll be like, "Oh, Annie has dreads. Let me back up."
So it's been Shelea. That's one of my favorite ones. They just add an L. You know, Shelea, Shelea, Shelea. Sheila, I actually get quite a bit because Sheila is a common name, which happens to be my mother's name. So I never, I never get too bent out of shape on that one. But yeah, I was the kid. I always knew when the teacher was coming to my name in school, like,
Here we go.
Right.
You're gonna have to help me with this.
Yeah.
that was always the thing. So.
Yep.
So I think we have a couple SDAs in the crowd because they said haystacks. What is it?
They said what?
Veggie corn dogs. Listen.
All that unhealthy stuff. But it's vegetarian. But
it's vegetarian, honey. Who cares about the sodium and the soy?
Honey.
Oh, okay. So I've been doing this vegan-ish thing, right?
Yes.
And I know you're vegan, right? So I say vegan-ish because I have 3 children, and sometimes I'm giving them chicken fettuccine Alfredo, and like it's there. So like I need, it'll end up in my mouth. But I'm really eating vegan oxtails afterward. So like, have you found, because I found that when I'm eating more of a plant-based diet, it actually is helpful to my voice. Like my voice kind of recovers from, abuse or whatever faster. Have you noticed that with a more alkaline diet that your body just kind of recovers from whatever you've kind of put it through as far as performance or tiredness?
Absolutely. I noticed it very, very quickly. I just realized like I'm not clearing my throat anymore as much. Because all the dairy, it's just phlegm. It's, it's mucus. So, that's dairy creates that. So I just noticed that there was just a clarity to just my tone quality from being vegan.
Okay. And so now I have another question. Okay. What do you want to say if you were to mentor? Because I think you're in a position as a mentor, just being who you are. I don't think you ever have to go out of your way to mentor anybody. As long as you keep, first of all, you guys need to get this woman's albums. I don't care if she came out with them 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, any piece of music that Shelea has put out. If you really want to go to singing school, have them on your playlist. This woman will take you to school.
And performance school, watch her performances.
Yes, she's amazing.
Right.
Master classes
on stage. I always talk about on stage because I'm a performing artist. You guys are recording artists. But on stage is a different monster. But watch those too because those are master classes.
Wow, thank
I
you.
forgot where I
Thank
was
you.
going with that.
You were saying what would I say?
Well, thank you. So, what would you say to young people who really want to? Because, like you said, there's a lot of people who have a lot of skill, but not a lot of showmanship. Like they don't understand what the audience wants.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, how would you articulate that to a young person that wants to, you know, be a legend one day?
But they got a lot of runs.
But they got a lot of runs.
You know.
But yeah.
We doing the Jasmine Sullivan run challenge, but you know.
Right. Right. Yes. No, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, I think for me, when I look at my journey, I feel like the church was a huge training ground for me. I feel like Black churchy people are the hardest people to impress.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I've said that.
There's a reason
Thank you.
for that.
I said when I got on stage on my first major performance, and they were like, "Oh, these people are probably gonna sit down on you, and they're not gonna say anything until the end, and then they'll say, 'Oh, you were so wonderful.'" I was like, "I sing in Black church. I'll be all right."
Right.
Literally. And you know, we had just got off. Well, they had the company that I'm with. They just got off like the biggest platform in the world with Beyonce, and they were like, "They're gonna be expecting a lot from us," and I was like, "All right, you know,
we got you. We got
right,
you.
Right.
We got you.
Church. We got
Right.
it.
So there is something that they are. I feel like, and this goes beyond denomination, but it's just Black churchy folk. I don't care what denomination. I think they can detect fakeness, fear and fakeness. Ooh. And just something that's not true to you. So it has to feel very organic. You have to be able to speak to them as well. You have to feel the crowd. You got to come out and say, you know, praise the Lord, everybody. You know, you have to come out. You have to connect. They need to feel that you are in control, that you know,
in control,
that you know the Lord, that and you are solid in that thing. You know, and so I feel like because I was a minister of music for so many years, this amazing church, this Church of God. Church, Upper Room Church of God on 108th and Figueroa, honey, in Watts, LA. I was the minister of music there I played there for a long time, and then I started becoming the minister of music. But totality, I was there over 15 years. Wow. So I didn't even realize I was training. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it until you're thrown in an environment. There is not one environment that I will ever feel uncomfortable in, ever. And that is because I have been, you know, to me, the church is what trained me to do that, because it's that being able to engage and to connect with people. I'm not going to go out in David Foster's audience and say, praise the Lord, everybody.
Right. Because they might look at